Merry meet, guys. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I am your Wednesday host, Houston, and this week we are talking about balancing our spirituality, our craft, and our work life and our social life. So, I don't really have a social life because I work all the time. And then when I'm not working, I am at home sleeping because I'm a hermit. There's only special or certain things that I go out for these days. Um, just me. Um, But some things that I do to balance my work life and my spirituality and my craft is I'm fortunate enough to be in a office environment where both me and the manager are pagan. So we can burn incense, we can burn candles, we can have that witchy atmosphere, we can cleanse with sage or Palo Santo or whatever, and without getting the weird looks that you might get from a muggle. Um, So, with that being said, I do bring a lot of my craft elements to a degree into work. Like I will, on times that we are slow, I have usually two or three books in my bag that I take with me to work. If I'm not working on something, I can read or I can do research. Also, I have the ability to play music. I can hook my phone up to the Bluetooth speaker we have at work and just rock out to music all day, and that can be very witchy. I talk about music, how I use music in my craft a lot. Um, so balancing, I don't really have, and I don't really have the need to separate the two to an extent. Like I'm not gonna well, I mean I have wear huge pentagram or pentagram with my at work. I mean I have I just get weird looks, but I mean, it doesn't affect sales or anything. Um, and for those of you who don't know, I work in a small family run smoke shop where we sell a variety of things. We do have some new agey pagan-esque items. We sell crystals, we sell essential oils, incense. We do have candles, not like the figure candles, but we do have little I think they're called chime candles. We do sell chime candles. Um, and incense, we did have a guy make some homemade, make, or selling his Athamazin wands that he made and at home. And we also have leather bound journals. I don't know why I said at home multiple times. We also have some leather bound journals, but enough about that. So, like I said, I don't really need or have the need to balance my work life and my spiritual life because I could intertwine them. I come from a point of view where everything can be magical, but then there are some times where I'm like, okay, I just don't want to deal with anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to deal with anything, and there's certain days. It's just I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of life. Not like I'm gonna take mine. It's just there's certain days where you just don't feel like doing anything. Um, and on those days, if unless I have to work, I really don't do anything but binge watch Netflix. It's probably why I haven't lost any weight, but that's another issue. Um, so some ideas to separate the two. I mean, I'm not a big fan of going out into social events unless I know the people that I'm going to see. Like if I'm invited to a party where I know everyone, that's cool. Like I'm totally fine with that. But if I'm going to, or okay, I do have an exception. Like if I'm going out to an event that I'm going to photograph where I'm behind the camera and I can focus and be behind the camera where I don't get anxiety from being around so many people I don't know, like I'll wander off. But usually, if you know me here, if my partner takes me somewhere and I don't know where it's at or I'm uncomfortable, I'm usually stuck to his side, like I'm glued onto him. Just because social interactions do make me a little bit uncomfortable. So, like I said, I don't really go out unless it's to someone I know event or I'm photographing an event that I've been paid for and that I have to do it. Um, or if I'm doing it for fun. Like, and I know that sounds very hypocritical. I don't like, but the only events I really shoot is I've shot in a couple. I've shot in a lot of drag performances, and I've shot a couple band performances. I've done some weddings, um, and portraiture I want to get back into, but that's the point. Um, so I apologize for rambling, but so some tips and tricks on how to separate or meld your craft into your life. I think how you can separate it first and foremost is don't bring your work home with you unless you work at home, and that's kind of hard to not do. Um, unless it's something that you desperately have to do, don't bring issues that came up at work home, because that makes your home life a little bit miserable because you do need that separate. That's not really a craft thing. That's more of a um, the positivity and uplifting type of thing. You don't want to bring that kind of stuff home with you. At least I don't. I'm not a big fan of it. Um, another thing that I do to, or one thing that I do to incorporate my craft into my work life or my life in general, is I usually wear crystals. I wear crystals. I have crystals in my pocket. I wear sacred jewelry. Either they be rings or necklaces. I'm a huge fan of these. I enchant my earrings. They're usually I do have some gemstone ones that I wear from time to time, but these guys are they are enchanted, or at least were enchanted. Um, at least past 2 months. I didn't put them out for the full moon this month, but and I usually work on enchanting my glasses, but these guys are, I don't know if you can see, broken right here. If you can see that, yeah, they're broken. So I'm going. Side note, going to get a new pair of glasses this week, or at least fit for some new pair. So, but I usually have these guys enchanted too, so it's something I could bring into my personal life, and also if I'm going out into a public place where I don't like, this is life, not really work. If I'm going out into a public place where I know I might get uncomfortable and I can't run away, it's usually the fight or flight thing. If I know I can't run away, like it's a job, or I am asked to do an event for a charity or whatever, or my partner's working an event and wants me to photograph it, whatever. I usually do a lot of events because it's hard for me to. Oh, no, it's not. I just photograph a lot of events. So if I know that the event may be stressful, I usually have some type of calming stone with me, or a calming and protection necklace, and make sure I shield before I go in. So I don't really think I have any separation of my craft and my daily life, my muggle life. Because I mean, I think everything I do, I've come to a point where almost everything I do, to a degree, um, has a bit of magic behind it, where I'm getting either like intuitive flashes throughout the day, or I'm talking to my spirit guides, doing what charming Pixie Flora or Flora Sage says, daily divine dialogue. I talk to my spirit guides every day, in one form or another, whether I'm talking out loud to them in the car, or at work, or at home, or I'm talking to them in my mind, um, or if I get this uneasy feeling, which happens sometime at work, uneasy feeling, I kind of intuit it and try to figure out what's going on, and I either push through it, or I figure out what's going on and get rid of it, if that makes any sense. Like I either deal with the feeling and it'll eventually go away, which usually doesn't happen, or I will get some banishing and cleansing going on in the store, which our boss is totally fine, which is weird. If you think about it, it's totally fine for us doing magic at the shop, as long as it helps, you know. Um, so I don't really. It's a very weird. It's not a weird concept. I mean, when I was back in college, I totally had separation of my school life and my craft, because I didn't think that it would be accepted. Even though I went to an art school, I didn't think that it would really be accepted. Cause coming from a small farm town where it wasn't, I just didn't think it was accepted. So I definitely kept that separate. If I wore any jewelry or any kind of pagan elements, they were usually hidden, or I didn't really bring them into my craft per se until one of the elders around here advised me to enchant my camera. It was actually probably one of the best things I've ever done. So enchanting my camera equipment for protection and for creativity and for capturing the moment when I need it to. I think those are some of the things that I do or that I've done that intermesh my life with the craft. I know this week is about separating, or maybe separating is the wrong word, but the division of how you deal with, you know, your different aspects. And I try to be as open as possible about my belief. I mean, I'm not going to argue my beliefs with someone who isn't open to it. I'm not going to sit there and preach to them about anything I believe in if I feel that they're not open to it. I'm not a big preaching person. I'll talk about and I'll educate to the best of my ability, but I pretty much don't have to worry about, and that's just for me. I mean, in my living situation now and where I'm at in my life, I don't have to worry about the separation so much of my craft and my work and my social life. So, or my work, I should say. So, I hope you guys didn't mind me rambling. I hope I spoke up loud enough where you could hear me. And until next week, I'll see you guys next week, and many blessings.